Dr. Timothy Quinn practices family medicine up in Richland. He joins us now live in the studio. Dr. Quinn, what kind of things can you find in floodwater?
I mean, there's so many potential contaminants in the water. I mean, you have to worry about waste, sewage, toxins, all sorts of microorganisms to include different types of bacteria and viruses. You even have to worry about sharp objects such as pieces of glass or metal fragments which can cut you. And in that event, you have an open wound.
Ooh.
And when this wound is exposed to these contaminants in the water, then you can develop severe cellulitis. It can develop into sepsis. I mean, it can be deadly.
That is some bad stuff out there. Are there chemicals, things like gasoline and oil from runoff and things like that in there as well?
I mean, definitely. I mean, anything can be in the water. And we have to worry about keeping our children out the water as well. I mean, I saw something on Facebook earlier where children were playing in the water, and I was like, oh no, because sometimes children, they can ingest the water.
Ooh.
And if it contains this gasoline and chemicals and all these other toxic substances that we spoke of, then they can develop severe gastrointestinal symptoms, and in some cases, it can actually be deadly.
What if you do come in contact with flood water for whatever reason? You're walking to it to your house, or just something happened and you get in some flood water. What do you do after that once you get out of it?
I mean, the most important thing is to get clean. I mean, if you had, of course you had clothes on, you want to wash those clothes in very hot water and make sure they're thoroughly cleaned. But you also want to wash your skin. I mean, you want to use clean water and soap, and you want to, take as good a shower as you possibly can. If you get your hands in it, wash your hands. I actually read an article last night that talked about if you touch the water and then you might touch your mouth or touch food without washing your hands, then you spread those contaminants into your GI tract, which, you can get a lot of gastrointestinal symptoms. So it's so important to try to avoid the water as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, there's animals you could see, maybe a snake or a rodent or something like that, but then it gets down to the microbial, the bacterial level in there.
Right. I mean, you spoke about the different animals, such as rodents or snakes. You can get bitten. And then, just the different contaminants. I mean, it could be very dangerous. And then also I read about power lines.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of cases, the power lines can fall in the water. You can be electrocuted. And then the other factor to think about are the currents. Sometimes it might not look very dangerous, but that water, if you get in it, you can be washed down and you can drown. So one thing that was so interesting, the article said, turn around, don't drown.
Oh, absolutely.
Do not go into the water.
Yeah, it's the water and the floodwaters that cause more deaths than any other severe weather that we have all year, more so than tornadoes. I think flooding is the deadliest thing. This
can't be overemphasized. And then after the water, the damage to the homes, you can get the mold and mildew. And a lot of people, they're allergic to these mold and mildews, and it can also exacerbate asthma, lead to pneumonia. And then lastly, we don't want to forget about the mosquitoes. I mean, just standing water, they're breeding ground for mosquitoes. And then we have to protect ourselves by wearing long sleeve shirts and pants, use insect repellent as much as possible, because you have to worry about the mosquito-borne illnesses such as West Nile virus.
I didn't even think about that. We've had such a mild winter too. There's going to be lots of standing water around. You mentioned mold and mildew. That's something a lot of people are going to have to deal with, because it's going to be about 3 days before this water finally recedes. There's going to be a lot of houses that were underwater for quite a long period of time.
Right. I mean, we just have to do the best we can and just realize this mold and mildew can be very detrimental to a lot of people, especially those with chronic lung disorders such as asthma or COPD. There's just so many things to be concerned about, but the most important immediate thing is avoid the water as much as possible.
That is it. Even when you go back to your house, wear the rubber boots, try to stay out of it. Don't. And then take a good hot shower after all that.
And if you have any food that has been exposed to the water, dispose of it immediately.
You don't want that in your GI tract. You said that you could have a real problem.
Exactly.
All right, Dr. Timothy Quinn, stay out of the floodwater.
There you go.
Stay out of the floodwater now. Thank you so much. Timely story as always. We thank Dr. Quinn. Well, still ahead on 12 News at noon. If you need shelter from the flood, 12 News knows where you can go until it's safe to return to your home. You are watching 12 News at noon. But first, here's a live look at Pearl. This is kind of a rainy area out there, too. Traffic going okay. It's President's Day. Don't worry of any accidents out there. But again, the water has not gone down yet, so be very careful.